Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to go over the NFL for Thursday, August 21st. And we're going to start with Pittsburgh versus Carolina. This is preseason week 3. And as you can see, the opening odds are on the screen. The ones that are faded out, plus 134, an underdog for the Steelers opening, minus 158. A favorite, Carolina Panthers at home. And these are just opening odds. We have to make sure we pay attention to those because we're going to compare those to the main odds, which we're going to go over in a moment. Then we're going to obviously make parallels with the splits, where the money is going, basically. And let's go over this real quick. All right. Currently, Pittsburgh is a favorite now, minus 235. Favorite are the Steelers, plus 194 are the Panthers. Polar opposites, basically, of how they started, with Pittsburgh starting as a small underdog. 4.5 points is the spread, favoring the Steelers. Obviously, they're the favorite. Minus 115 cost going with the Steelers. Minus 105 cost going with the Panthers at 4.5 point underdogs. Over under 36.5 points. Over is getting the minus 105 sweet spot. The minus 105s are the sweet spot. Those hit close to about 68% of the time, sometimes more, in comparison to the minus 115s. And that should continue throughout this season. It has definitely continued in baseball as well. But let's go over where the money is going in this one. We're going to focus on the higher negatives, though. In particular, with this money line at minus 235, the Steelers are a favorite. 83% currently of the betting going with Pittsburgh, 77% of the money going with Pittsburgh, 17% of the betting going with Carolina, 23% of the money going with Carolina. Spread, percentage of bets, 70% going with Pittsburgh, 70% of the money going with Pittsburgh as 4.5 point favorites. Over under was at 35.5, now it is at 36.5. Over is getting 84% of the betting and 72% of the money. Now, when you look at these minus 105s here, you have to take notes of where they can flip, especially with the totals. As you can see, it happens all the time. As you can see, minus 105 currently for the over. Then when game time approaches, it will literally go to the under. Minus 115 will turn into minus 105, and then minus 105 will hit. So when you bet early, you have to be mindful of how do you know that these could flip. The only way you know that these could flip, since it's not a high total in comparison to most NFL games, it's about average to a little bit less than average at 36.5. So what you have to look out for is how do these odds adjust? This money line here and this money line here. How do these odds adjust? If this plus, let's say if the underdog becomes more of an underdog, so if they go to plus 200 plus, so to speak, which means Pittsburgh is probably going to go to minus 245, minus 250 plus in their respective direction. If they go higher in their respective directions, usually the under will take it. Usually, especially if it hits that minus 105. Currently, the over is taking that minus 105 and is a relatively lower total at 36.5. But with this 235, it is getting 77% of the money, 83% of the betting. People betting high on Pittsburgh. This is where you want to monitor, bet late, and monitor where the sharps go in. If the sharps go in late, they're more than likely going to bet on Carolina, especially since this is a preseason game at home, who are not getting most of the love on the consensus. Only 23% of the money going with Carolina, 17% of the betting. When the sharps go in, that is more than likely going to change. That will more than likely end up with 30% of the money. The Panthers will more than likely end up with 30% of the money. Betting for Carolina will end up at more than likely close to that as well, just like it is right now, but more than likely closer than 6%. But just keep that in mind. The spread is at 4.5. Whichever one goes to that, if you pick the underdog on the money line, you have to go with them on the spread. But if you were to go that direction, minus 105, They are getting that sweet spot. That is a sweet number that hits more so than not. But the minus 115s are risky as well. Keep that in mind when you're betting. When the money line values go higher, when they go higher, look out for which way the totals go. With the cost of the totals, do they increase? Well, do they flip? Or do the total amounts, the over under total, does it increase or decrease? You have to monitor that. But yeah, if you want picks, they will be on my Patreon. New England versus New York, plus 235 for New England, minus 290 for New York Giants. 6.5 point favorites at minus 110 costs are the Patriots on the road as an underdog. 6.5 point favorites at minus 110 costs for the Giants as a home favorite. Over under 37.5, minus 110 costs even for the over and the under. Now let's see how they started though. New England started as a favorite, just like the last game, flip-flopped. Minus 136 for New England, plus 116. And I'm going to tell you why they do that. They do that to kind of throw you off. And they use sporadic amounts. Like you see this 134 for Pittsburgh, 158 for Carolina. Minus 136 for New England, plus 116 for New York Giants. They do that just to throw you off. And as you can see, it has flip-flopped. Pittsburgh came out to be the favorite in their game, and the Giants are coming out to be a favorite in their game. All right, let's see where the splits are going. All right, 27% of the money in favor of betting in favor of New England on the money line, 53% of the money in favor of the Patriots on the money line, 73% of the betting in favor of the Giants, 47% of the money in favor of the Giants, 72% of the betting going with the spread for the Patriots, 43% of the money going with the spread for the Patriots, 28% of the betting going with the Giants on the spread as 6.5 point favorites, 57% of the money going with the Giants on the spread. Over under looks like this: 37.5, minus 110 cost even for the over and the under. 89% of the money going over, betting going over. 82% of the money going over. 11% going under on the betting, and 18% of the money going under on the betting. So right about the money, 53-47, we're right about even on where the money is going on the money line. The spread, the splits on the spread, a little bit distant, 57-43. Still close to that even spot, but 57 is distant, especially in sports betting. Now, over is obviously getting most of the love in this game as well. Even more of the money in this one, and even more of the betting in this one. All right, minus 290. That is super high for the Giants. They're approaching that minus 300. If they approach minus 300, look out for them in this one. But the 6.5 point favorites, you're going to see that a lot in the NFL. Touchdown, even in NCAA a little bit. Also, we have NCAA picks coming up for the weekend, week 0 they call it. And we will be picking win totals and things like that for the NCAA football and the NCAA football and NFL and NFL. So look out for that on the Patreon. Link is in the description and in the video. 7 points is a touchdown and an extra point, and they're going to keep messing with bettors with this 6.5 points all season long, regardless of pretty much how distant the teams are talent-wise. They're going to keep this 6.5 points on the spread, especially as sports betting is more important, and more popular, that is. But minus 290 could turn into minus 300. If you see minus 300 while holding somewhere around 50%, look out for them in that one. But the plus 235, monitor how that increases or decreases. If it decreases, more than likely the Giants would decrease as well. But if it decreases, more than likely, look out for New England if this decreases as well. 53% of the money. Look out for New England if both decrease. As long as they're getting more than 50% of that money, especially more than 45% of that money at plus 235, they not likely. But once again, like I said, preseason is all about building confidence with the bettors. So they're going to keep that going they could keep that going this day, or they could definitely keep it going throughout tomorrow as well, and the weekend while preseason's still going on, the final week of the preseason. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Join the Patreon. Link is in the description and in the video. You guys take care. Pray every day.